we seem to, well, we seem to be questioning people who are involved in industry. I'm an air conditioning contractor and from the state of Texas, and we want somebody on that licensing board that understands the industry or somehow is involved. And I understand tobacco was a big lawsuit. The aim of science is to get to the truth, and Dr. Silvergill, I was reading your personal statement here where you said that you think there's an urgent and important need to adopt an evidence-based approach to improve decision-making, increase public confidence in policymaking, and enhancing the scientific basis of toxicology as well as its utility for other domains, including drug regulation, on and on and on. And then you continue, you say, through this process, I think it's now appropriate to draw together a workshop of stakeholders. Well, I would submit that we want people from industry, the energy industry, the coal industry, and we want the data to be accessible so that if our aim is for the American public's health and its safety, then we want, I mean, is it not true that scientists want to get to the truth? Is that a truism? Or is it what Mark Twain said, all scientists are only sure of one thing, and that's that every other scientist before them was wrong?
Well, actually, Mark Twain does express a certain tenet in science, which is what we call the falsifiability principle, advocated by philosophers, which is that we start by doubting our own hypotheses.
Okay. Well, yeah, well, that's right. And so I just want to point out that we want those industry ties, and we want people to be able to do that. I just find it appalling that we seem to have a disagreement over people in industry have a legitimate reason for getting involved. We question, you know, their motive in so many cases. And I think that we have the underlying premise, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that somehow government employees are to be trusted more, EPA, Science Advisory Policy Committee, whatever, are to be trusted more than those who have a vested interest in the very communities that they live in. And I want us to be open and honest, and I'm going to be supporting your bill, Mr. Chairman, obviously. And I want us to be able to get the open and reviewable science and the methodology that was used. We're dealing on another issue on flood on FEMA, where we're questioning their data. But I think that it would be a good thing for all scientists to be able to review that data. Or am I missing something here? Mr. Keating, I'll start with you.
I think you're spot on. And what's interesting about this is where our public choice economists can help out a little bit here, because they're the ones that point out what the incentives are in government, right? What are the political incentives? And for the American people, you know, we still have a certain skepticism, which I like, regarding what government does. So what you want to do when you're talking about science is clear that up as much as you can. Dispel the idea that this is all politics, it's all driven by politics.
Okay, and I apologize, I'm running out of time. Let me go over to the good doctor next to you here. Same question. I think it's a good thing if most all of these studies are up for review by all scientists involved. Don't you agree?
I think we have that process in place now, sir. And actually, if I may, in response, I'm sorry Dr. Brown is not here, because in fact his profession has driven what I think to be a model, which is the evidence-based approach. And physicians don't actually usually consult the underlying data. They look at systematic reviews.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I need to move on. Dr. Cox.
I think it's an excellent idea, and I don't think that our current systems go far enough in the public interest.
Okay, and Dr. Graham, I think.
I agree.
Okay, well, we want to be very, I believe that all of our colleagues here want to be good stewards of the American tax dollars, their taxpayers' money. And so the fact that we want to call into question some of these policies by the EPA, because they are killing jobs, it's just as pure and simple as you can make it. And if the scientific data is not absolutely concrete and 100% certain, then I think rather than have a war on coal, rather than have a war on fossil fuels, and I was on the Environmental Reg Committee in the Texas legislature, and Texas does a good job of cleaning up their air. Now, there's federal government employees who would like to think that they have to come in and ride herd on Texas, to use the old Texas colloquialism, but leave it to the states for the most part, because they do want a clean backyard. Mr. Chairman, I've gone on way too long, and I'll stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. Ms. Bonamici, do you ever feel like we're just surrounded by Texans on this committee? Yes, indeed, Mr. Chairman.
Would you like to do a closing statement or share some thoughts?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for your courtesy in